Hey guys, coming at you with a Arcanist build for dueling. Today we are going to go over what what to wear, what CP to use, what skills to use, and when to use it. All right, so starting off at the top, we have Jarrell's Mountains War Chiefs. Click off of that. Drilled Mountains War Chiefs. Pretty much, it puts a 35% healing taken reduction on them, on the enemy, as well as I think it is 15%. Yeah, it's 15% healing debuff on yourself. That is healing taken, not healing received. So those are a little different, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I think I am wrong. So I think healing taking is just everything in general. Then we go to Savara Scales, which puts a pretty nasty dot on the enemies, and it allows us to wear heavy armor as well, which is important for tankiness as well as having some more health. Moving on to Snake in the Stars. This puts a disgusting dot on anybody that tries to heal. The only downside to this set is the dot can only be up for 4 seconds, and there's an 8-second downtime on that. So you'll have to learn how to put the dot on. What I like to do for Snake in the Stars is put Elisus on them for the major and minor debuff because that gives us major breach already. And you pretty much just wait until about 17 seconds on your timer, and then you'll reapply it to get the Snake in the Stars debuff or dot on there again. It's very heavy pressure, especially with the Jarrells. The Savara's scales just gives us another dot. You could replace this with fire, but Way of Fire, I think that would work too. Moving on, we have the Master's Perfected Maces, which is pretty much a staple in most builds nowadays because of the nasty dot that it puts on twin slashes. And yeah, that's pretty much the gear. As far as skills go, I like to use Escalating Rune Blades as my spammable because it's just pretty good and it helps you build cruxes for your Impervious Rune Ward on your back bar, which allows you to shield yourself and stay tanky and not take a lot of damage. Cryptarch's Flail, that's just for the immobilization as well as generating crux and also putting a debuff on them that allows you to do 5% more damage to them, the enemy. I use Blood Craze instead of Rending Slashes because I found that I don't really need the extra hemorrhage um, dot. And I think Blood Craze is just going to be overall better because you need the healing. There's not a lot of healing on this class except for your Vigor and your Shield. So having that passive healing is really nice to keep your from mismanaging your stam by healing so much or just shielding a lot. We have Rune of the Colorless Pool. I like Rune of the Colorless Pool because over the other morph, because for one, it puts minor brittle. It doesn't charm them and make them walk towards you and make you, miss a Donnie or something like that. Um, yeah, it's a pretty good skill. And then Camo Hunter is just for the extra crit passive as well as the 3% weapon and spell damage we get from the Fighter's Guild passive. Dawnbreaker is going to be your main ult. You're just going to Donnie the hell out of people whenever you see their health low. I mean, you could just use it as an opening burst too if you wanted to, but I think it's more. I think ults are more effective used when an enemy is about half health because it just puts them on the back burner even further instead of hitting them at full health with your ult and they just tank it. They face tank it. All right, so then we have Elemental Susceptibility. We talked about this one a little bit more. This is going to be your Snake in the Stars proc. It's what's going to proc it for the most part. Well, for every part. Then you have your Crux Weaver armor. This is just going to make you tankier. It's going to give you either your major resolve as well as reducing the armor of your attacker by almost 3k as well. So you get minor breach along with major breach with this setup. Inspired scholarship. This just gives you your major brutality as well as a little dot, and it helps build cruxes, I believe. Then you have your resolving vigor. This is just going to be used to heal yourself and mainly give you that minor resolve to make you a little tankier. You don't want to overuse this because it will drain your stam. So you only want to use this when it's necessary. Previous Rune Ward. This is something you want to keep up pretty often. This is why we built into stam, if you notice. Because if we do not build into stam, I've tested mag. You just eat through your mag with the escalating rune blades, and it puts you in a situation where you can't impervious Rune Ward consistently enough to tank damage. So you want to be stam. You want to have a little bit more stam than you have mag. For me, I don't know how. I do know how, but it's pretty much the same for me right now, except for my stam's about 1,000 higher because of the points I put into it. Yeah. So moving on to champion points, we have Duelist rebuff for single target attacks. Master at Arms for reduction from single target attacks. Excuse me. Master at Arms increases your damage done with direct damage attacks, deadly aim, single target attacks, and wrathful strikes, which is gives you 205 weapon and spell damage to your attacking abilities. As far as the red CP goes, we have Survival Instincts, which reduces the cost of your core combat abilities, which is like block, roll dodge, bash, shit like that. Celerity to improve your speed a little bit. I think this could be a flex spot for dueling, honestly. I think you could get away with putting what's that other one called? Sustained by Suffering, that's what it is. I think you could get away with putting Sustained by Suffering here instead of Celerity, but Celerity's nice too. It's nice to have movement speed. Bastion is a huge one we want to have because it increases our effectiveness of damage shields as well as our damage done to other enemies with shields, which comes in handy on fighting other classes, such as Arcanist or Sork. Reduces your damage taken by 2% for every 2 negative effects on you. This one's huge. It gives you a pretty big damage reduction. Pain's Refuge does. Then we have green CP, which in my opinion, that's your own choice, but for me it's cookie cutter. Yeah. So then moving on to food, you will be using Orzorgas. And if you don't want to use Orzorgas because you don't want to spend the gold, you could use Jewels of Misrule. I like using Orzorgas because I had a lot laying around, so that's what I do. Your Vamp stage is going to be 3. Right now mine is 1 because I was PvEing on this guy earlier, or the last time I played him. Your Mundus stone is going to be the Serpent. This is because we drain a lot of stam with escalating rune blades. This is a very heavy pressure build, so having that extra stam is really nice for doing our spammable, as well as if we have to roll dodge or block, we gain that stam back pretty quick. As you can see, the recoveries, this is unbuffed. So we have 1691 stam recovery, 1468 mag recovery. It's not too bad, but yeah. That is essentially the build. I think it's pretty good. I hope you guys enjoy it. It is mainly a dueling build. So with that being said, I will showcase it in a dueling fashion. I hope you guys enjoy. Hit it for a little bit. I'm gonna duel this guy.